Literally, the amount of news and leaks that are dropping for the brand new Sims 4 expansion pack, Life and Death, that is coming out October 31st is insane. And I'm going to use this video to go over everything I've found and really just break it all down, because this expansion pack is shaping up to probably be the most exciting one we have seen in years. So sit back, relax, and get ready to just dive into all of this. So there's a few things I want to go over. One, the EA Origin or EA app has a lot of details that have not been showcased in the trailer or on social media all that much. So I have the store page pulled up here, and we are going to scroll down and go through all of this. But before we dive into it, I also have a couple sim gurus that I follow on Twitter that are really spilling a bunch of information as they reply to tweets or X threads or whatever you want to call it now. I'm always going to call it Twitter. But before we dive into all of this, hit the like button if you guys are excited for this expansion, and let me know what you're most excited about in the comments, because there is so much to unpack here. But let's go over this. This is on the EA app where you can purchase all the experiences here. And the first tile here is called the Soul's Journey, and there's 3 sections. So in life, you get to choose your life goals. Young adult Sims and older will have bucket lists that fill up with goals. Some items you may choose, and some will appear for you to accept or reject. Like right now, we get those little prompts that are like, does your Sim like music? It's like, oh yeah, my Sim does, or nah, they don't. And it kind of forms your Sim and continues to deepen their overall gameplay. This is going to be kind of how bucket lists function. Possible bucket list items include declaring a crafted masterpiece your life's work. So like, let's say you perfect the painting skill and are 10 out of 10 and you make a masterpiece painting. You can say that specific painting is your life's work, which that's really exciting. I want more things like this. This deepens my gameplay so much. Woohooing in an unconventional location while in a relationship is at max. Spending 24 in-game hours in a specific world, and more. Completing bucket list items in life will unlock interactions, the burning soul trait, the ability to be reborn, and more. So if you want to be reborn, it sounds like you need to tackle the bucket list, which, I mean, the rebirth stuff sounds insane, but we're going to get to that third, because second is the afterlife. So complete your unfinished business. So like, let's say you didn't complete your bucket list, or your Sim has unfulfilled needs or desires. This is your opportunity to complete them. If a Sim dies with incomplete items on their bucket list and becomes a ghost, those items will become their unfinished business. Completing the items will then unlock the option to move on. So just, let your soul leave this bodily realm or be reborn, though you may also choose to have them remain a ghost. Okay, so there's 3 options. You can just have them move on and they're gone and that's it. Goodbye, grandma. Or they could be reborn, or they could just hang out as a ghost. Now let's talk about rebirthing, because obviously we noticed this in the trailer. It's so exciting. I think there's a lot that has been added to this that I can't wait to dive into. But here it is. Okay, so starting over, completing their bucket list or unfinished business will give a Sim the ability to be reborn. They will be submerged in the Ravenwood Baleful Bog, which we saw that Sim swimming in the little trailer, before taken in to create a Sim. So basically, once you complete their bucket list, you can choose to have them be reborn. Then you'll be taken to create a Sim. There, you'll be able to adjust the Sim's age of their rebirth. So if you want them to be born as an elder or as an adult or a teenager or a child or a toddler, like, you can choose that. You can also adjust their appearance. Now, this is the most interesting thing here, is you can choose which household they're reborn into. So like, let's say I make a really evil Sim. He lived a horribly evil life. Maybe he was a murderer or something like that. And then he met an untimely demise due to his own actions. I could have him be reborn into the Goth family and be like this spawn of Satan that's growing up with the Goths, only to like relive his story arc and exact his revenge on the person that killed him and ended his tirade of murdering. Like, there is so much you can do with storytelling here, and it's going to make Legacy series, which are my favorite series to do, super interesting. Because imagine I have a child and they grew up to be like an accomplished actor, and then they pass away and they come back and now they're a child star and they're like living this grand life. Like there's so much you can do with this, and it's really, really exciting. So I am hyped on Rebirthing. But before we go into these other 3 categories, I do want to hop over to Twitter. So there is this image going around that The Sims tweeted. It is this whispering Ren Messenger. So this is an item that's 30 simoleons, and it actually sounds like it allows you to communicate with the dead, and maybe vice versa, the dead to be able to communicate with you. If you read this section here, it says this messenger is known by locals as a whispering wren. Zinnia flowers are also considered very special. It's thought that the stems of these flowers were hollowed out by Ren to record the echoes of a spoken message so it can be delivered to the deceased. So see, we could like speak to this and deliver messages to our deceased relatives. It's believed that whispering your message to this little statue will send Ren skipping away to find your lost love and softly relay the note in their slumber. So one, this could be a way to summon someone. So like, let's say a sim in your family dies. Maybe they're not around right away, and you have to use this Ren to summon them in their ghostly form and then either complete their bucket list, rebirth them, or send them on their way into the afterlife. So I think that's really interesting. It is a 30 simoleon thing, very cheap, very accessible, and I'm really excited to see how this works. But yeah, this is just an interesting thing they posted. A lot of people noticed it in the trailer, so I thought it was definitely worth going over. And then I also want to point out these 2 sim gurus because obviously, Dave here, Sim Guru Ninja, made a very interesting comment on his Twitter. And I mean, going through their replies in general on Twitter is so worth it because they spill some serious information. So somebody asked, I know y'all wild, but you better not woohoo in this. And like, obviously this is like a crypt or like a tomb in one of the graveyards. And someone said, don't you dare, that's holy ground. And Sim Guru Ninja replied, too late. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. Now, obviously he could just be bantering and making jokes, but he could also be letting us know that this is a woohoo location. And I mean, it looks like one. It looks like it could definitely be a woohoo location. And I just thought that was super interesting. Obviously, I expected and anticipated getting new woohoo locations, but I didn't really think about the graveyards all that much. And now it has me thinking, are people going to be able to woohoo in like an empty casket or something like that? Because I know in like the vampire pack, obviously, you can woohoo in those caskets because it's like the vampire's bed. But there's a lot going through my mind here just seeing this tweet. And if you scroll through all of their replies, there's some great stuff, like the holes in that roof. Like this was noticed detail, and he said it's one of his favorite items. So it's really exciting to see all of this stuff confirmed. There's another Sim Guru by Sim Guru Connor, and again, just going through their replies, there's just so much great information like spilled here, and they confirm a lot of stuff as well. And they answer a lot of questions on Twitter/X. So I definitely think both of these Sim Gurus are worth following. But let's hop back into the EA app and go over our other 3 tiles. So Life with Death. So we've all saw the Grim Reaper and what looks like a new career. So let's go into it. Reapers and Morticians. Start an active career as a Reaper, which active career I believe is referring to like acting and things like that, where you actually have to go to the job and it's not just a rabbit hole. So start an active career as a Reaper, a member of Grimm's team. Perfect for Sims with a dark sense of adventure. This job will take you to Grimm's office and beyond. Visit the dead and reap souls in person. Stop active hauntings and enjoy day-to-day tasks like ushering soul orbs along their journeys and chatting with Grimm, your boss. If you're looking for an equally gloomy but off-screen career, visit the crypt to start working as a mortician. So there's going to be 2 new careers in this pack. One is active, which is basically working with the Grim Reaper and being their apprentice and working your way up maybe to be Grim themselves. And another one is a rabbit hole, which is just like a funeral mortician. And It doesn't sound like you're actually going to go there and like set up funerals or anything like that. It's probably just a 10 career track rabbit hole type of career, but that's great. Like, I'm excited for 2 new career options. This active career sounds really fun. Like, I like the acting career in Get Famous because it's actually fun to go to and do. It becomes a little repetitive. I feel like this one, though, is going to have a lot of fun curveballs. Like, I imagine I go in to a day in the office as a Reaper and find out that my target that day is Nancy Landgrab and I lose my stuff. So, I mean, I think it's going to be so fun, and each shift is going to feel different than the other. Like it says here that you can visit the dead and reap souls in person. You can stop active hauntings like a Ghostbuster of sorts and enjoy day-to-day tasks. Okay, so it's like, it sounds like each day could be a little bit different, especially as you advance in the career. I wonder if there's 10 tiers to this career as well, but I guess we'll just have to see. But that was really interesting. Traits and aspirations. Embrace the beyond. The ghost historian aspiration is for Sims who want to study the departed. So, like Otho and Beetlejuice here. Sims with this aspiration will want to explore the crypt, befriend ghosts, and write down their findings. In time, they'll be able to write horror books. There are also 3 new traits. Macabre Sims delight in the dark and marvel at the morbid. I hope I'm saying that right. Chased by death will give Sims a seize the day attitude and tilt the odds against them in risky situations. Skeptical Sims do not believe in ghosts even when they encounter them. So 3 new traits. They all sound pretty interesting. I don't know how many I would use in my daily gameplay. The one that sounds most exciting is one that kind of allows you to marvel in the delight and dark and the morbid, because I feel like it really ties to this pack at its core. Seize the Day is fun because it feels like it kind of tacks on to ambitious Sims. So if you have a very ambitious Sim and you use Seize the Day, I mean, it could be a really fun way to have a Sim that accelerates at everything excels at everything they do and flies through life at light speed. But also it sounds like it comes with a little bit of risk in risky situations where they might not always go your way. So yeah, that's great. I mean, the Ghost Historian aspiration sounds really fun. Definitely worth a playthrough. But let's go to Dark Pursuits. So we saw the pet crows, we saw the tarot cards in the trailer. This addresses those. A pet crow can be a beloved companion. Befriending your crow will make it inclined to bring you gifts. And they can even be taught to say Simlish words through mimicry. So, like a parrot, they can be taught to speak Simlish. And like a pet, they can fetch you gifts. If you provoke your crow, however, it may become upset, and its friends will punish you with a death by murder of crows, okay? Have you ever seen the classic movie, The Birds, or whatever it is? That's the first time I heard of a murder of crows, which is just like a lot of crows, or more than 2 crows, I think. It's like 3 crows minimum. So that's crazy. Its friends will punish you with death by murder of crows. So our crow has friends? Is it just other crows? They just know a lot of different crows. There's also a new collectible tarot card, which can be found around Ravenwood or purchased. Sims with a full deck can perform readings for themselves and others. So these are considered dark pursuits. So the crows, I don't see how this is used in the dark arts. It might just be the gifts they fetch you. Maybe they can do some bidding. Can you convince the murderer crows to murder other Sims? And also, how do the tarot cards tie in to some of the dark pursuits? Because we saw in the trailer, the main character had I'd say second main character, the older gentleman, had his tarot card reading. It didn't look good for him, and then he died the next day. Like, could a tarot card reading be a new death as well? I'm really curious. But let's go to coping with loss. There's 3 tiers here as well. So every Sim grieves differently. Unhappy events like deaths and breakups will have long-term emotional effects on Sims. The 4 types of grief are anger, blues, holding it together, and denial. And which one a Sim experiences will depend on their traits as well as what happened and who they lost. Grieving Sims will have new interactions and a variety of ways to cope, including talking to other Sims and counseling. So I think what's interesting here is depending on who your Sim really is, they'll grieve differently. And they'll also grieve differently to the loss of maybe a neighbor as to the loss of a family member. So it sounds like if this sim is more important and more prevalent in your life, you are going to grieve more extremely than as if they were somebody you met once and might live down the street. So I love that. Like, it's very dynamic in like a legacy series, which I know I talk a lot about legacy, but I love legacies. I think this will be so much fun. I'm excited to see the 4 different types of grief. We kind of already see this with breakups and things like that, but I'm really excited to see how deep this could go for something as serious as death. So let's go to the next one, though. Remember in your own way. So when your Sims lose a loved one, hold a custom event with the rituals you want. Gather in a location of your choosing and express grief in a variety of ways, from toasts to eulogies to a memorable cannon that shoots confetti. Rituals may be somber, but upbeat celebrations of life are possible too. Besides hosting an event, you can commemorate deceased Sims with customizable grave sites and caskets, choose the look of the headstones and urns, and add decorations a Sim would have enjoyed to their casket. So, okay, this is confirmation that the headstone is customizable, the casket is customizable, and the grave sites is customizable. So maybe you don't want to have them buried in a plot. Maybe they have a tomb or something much more grand. It sounds like that is going to be an option. You can also customize their urns and even add decorations to their caskets. And it sounds like the funerals don't have to just be bleak. Maybe they can be a celebration of this person's life versus a cry fest. So, I mean, it sounds like there's going to be a lot of customization when it comes to throwing a funeral and when it comes to sending off your Sims in the right way. So, again, for a legacy series, I love this. But let's go to Inherit, because this was like kind of like a very interesting part of the trailer that had me thinking of a million different things. But let's get into it. Write wills and pass down heirlooms. Sims aged child and up can designate certain items as heirlooms, which can be passed down through generations. Possible heirlooms include both craftable items and items available in build mode, like quilts and music boxes. Hovering over an heirloom will always show the Sim it belonged to. Sims can create wills which will dictate which other Sims will obtain their heirlooms, money, children, and more. Choose the emotional impact you want the will reading to have. So, as a Sim, I will be able to dictate who gets my heirlooms, what my heirlooms are. So like, let's say I make a masterpiece painting and it's my life's work. I can say, this is an heirloom. And it'll always say my Sim's name on it, even if it's generations later, and pass down multiple times. Because say I pass my heirloom on to my son, and then my son dies and passes it on to his son, he'll see that Grandpa Zach owned it first, and it was his heirloom. Which I think that is so fun for storytelling and depth of gameplay. You can also decide what money you pass on and to which Sims. And one thing I really didn't think about, which I don't know why, is passing on your children. So say your Sim meets an untimely death from hysterically laughing or something, and they have 2 kids, who's going to get the kids? And now there's a solution for that, which I wonder how that's going to work. Like, let's say I have a household of 1 adult and 2 kids, and the adult dies, and my kids go to grandma who lives in a different household, let's say. Do I follow those kids to that household? Like, I'm really curious to see how this goes. And it says, and more. So probably your house and all of your goods. You can decide who gets what. And I am super excited to see how this goes. Choose the emotional impact you want the will reading to have. So also when someone's reading your will, you can decide if you want people to be angry, happy, sad. I don't know. Like, I'm just so excited. Let's go to the next category, though, hauntings and haunts, because obviously we have some of this already in The Sims, but I want to see how much deeper it gets and how much they're adding to this overall. But grow your power. Power progression for Ghost has 5 tier splits between good and evil lanes, as well as a 4-tier neutral track in the middle. As you work to become the best or worst ghoul you can be, you'll unlock powerful abilities. Make sure to watch your stamina gauge. You'll get more see-through when you're low on energy. The ultimate ability of the good track is Benevolent Blessing, and the ultimate ability of the evil track is Otherworldly Curse. So it sounds like as you build your ghost reputation and abilities, you could probably bless somebody, like almost like a genie maybe, with, I don't know, increased skill, increased wealth, increased happiness. But if you choose the evil course, you could get otherworldly curse and damn a sim. And maybe they'll always have bad luck, or they'll lose their money, or they'll die themselves. Like, I don't know. Like, there's so much gameplay potential here. Now let's go to Haunt. How will you haunt? You can be a very friendly ghost and help out around the house you're haunting, cleaning messes and fixing broken items. This will earn you goodwill essence. You can also embrace the fiendish fun of scaring living Sims to earn fear essence. Both types of essence can be sold for simoleons. Ghosts need money too. So, okay, you can earn the essence, which probably progress the evil and good path, but they also can be sold for money, which that's fun. Your ghost can be a contributing member to society still, even beyond the grave. So, crypts and the cemetery. Visit the dead. Crypts can hold the urns of up to 20 Sims. Okay, so if you're doing a Sims Legacy, you could buy a crypt. It might be a decent investment, and then you could bury 20 Sims in a crypt. Let's see, but they are more than just a final resting place. The living can visit to mourn, nap, woohoo, okay, there it is, that's a confirmation, or join the mortician career. Eerie adventures are also waiting. Make careful choices and you could find treasure or something less pleasant. Okay, so exploring these crypts could lead you to fortune or finding a poltergeist and they want to murder you, so that's fun. Cemeteries are a common site for grieving rituals. Ghosts often spend time there, and if you encounter the gravekeeper at night, he might share a frightful tale. Cemeteries can be created and placed in any world. This is awesome. One, I love that they can be placed anywhere, because if you really like to play in a specific world, like, you can have this feature. But two, it sounds like there's a lot of gameplay and fun secrets to be found. So exploring this pack is just, it feels like the deepest pack we've gotten in forever. Let's go to landmarks though. People, places, and poltergeists. No trip to Ravenwood will be complete without a trip to the Baleful Bog. That's where you can rebirth. A large river with supernatural powers. Sims can go here for an out-of-body experience. And we did talk about that in the trailer. She swam there and then all of a sudden she was a ghost. So it sounds like it might give temporary ghostly powers and effects. Ghost Sims or Sims who are close to death can visit the Baleful Bog to be reborn if they've completed the bucket list / unfinished business. You can also visit Alice's dead tree to get a quest from the ghost mother, adventure in a haunted house, meet Grimm in the garden ruins, encounter the frightening Edith in the village, and more. So this world is really going to feel lively. I cannot wait. Like, I am going to do a Let's Play on this series, and we are going to make a family, and it is going to be so much fun. And if we all love the series, like, it could be a legacy series of its own, but like, I am so excited for this pack. I need all of your opinions right now. Let me know in the comments, what are you most excited about? What are you hoping for that maybe hasn't been confirmed yet? And like this video if you enjoyed, but that is all the news we have today. I will see you guys next time. Bye.